please do jump in there. So Netfa, what I also so in some ways this is perfect because we have sort of the antithesis of what we've been talking about this morning in this nominee to the Supreme Court. And if we can start with, I'd like to play a little bit or play this short discussion of the nomination on a rival Black news network. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, let's because I think let's just check this out.
It's an historical day in the making. Ketanji Brown Jackson is now the first Black woman nominated to become a Supreme Court justice. Jackson is expected to meet with senators next week, a common practice for nominees, qualified and capable. 2 words used to describe Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, nominated by the president today to the Supreme Court. If confirmed by the Senate, she will bring to the High Court what it has lacked for 233 years. Think about that.
Think about that, Netfa.
Of a Black woman. Now, those words expressed by
the experience of a Black woman on the court, Netfa.
If confirmed, Judge Brown Jackson could have the power to impact generations to come. Talking about how this will matter for those younger generations. She's joining us now. And, our nation, Joteka, is divided because of race or politics. Today, we have a nominee who very well may transcend both. How important is that?
I think it's incredibly important. And I absolutely believe that Judge Jackson is going to be a unifier in this country. I think it's hard for anyone in
Fix your face, Netfa. I see you.
Watch Judge Jackson address this nation today and not felt some bit of inspiration. So much of her story is the story of so many Americans, and particularly Black women. She is not only someone that will bring experience as a legal mind and a legal scholar with a deep understanding of the Constitution and years of experience on the federal bench, but she will also bring the lived experience of a Black woman. She will bring the lived experience of someone who grew up being told that she shouldn't set her vision too high. She understands what it means to be overlooked or pushed to the side, and she will carry that to the U.S. Supreme Court along with so much of the excellence and the remarkable career that she has had as a jurist and a public servant to this country. It's indeed a very beautiful and inspiring day in America.
Mm.
And, one of the questions that comes to mind is that this is not a diversity hire or nomination. We seem to have that already with.
He said it was.
Thomas.
Before the election.
On the High Court when it's time to weigh in on cases that impede upon our civil rights. Will we see that in here?
I think we look at Judge Jackson's record. She has a deep understanding. She is someone that brings to the court, if confirmed, with nearly 8.9 years of service.
That's how much he was bothered by it.
Judge on the bench. She will bring to bear to the court more experience and more years of service on the bench than 4 other justices combined. So with that, she is going to bring a very wide understanding of the rule of law, a very deep understanding of the Constitution. And again, because of her deep experience and the work that she's done with the U.S. Sentencing Commission, her work as a federal public defender, I think she's going to be able to see so much of America.
Netfa, public defender right down there in D.C. Superior Court.
That lens, she has that worldview, and most importantly, she has that lived experience. And I think that is going to be important to have that representation, to have that viewpoint on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Very well said. And I know you're very excited about this. I got to let you gloat for a little bit and celebrate this.
Gloat and celebrate.
It feels good. It feels, I've cried. I've had tears of joy. I'm on the West Coast. I'm in LA. I literally woke up at 4 a.m. this morning because I could not sleep because I had so much excitement about what was going to come today. And I think for so many Black women, and so many little Black girls, what they will see in Judge Ketanji, oh my goodness, Judge Ketanji Jackson will be just a beacon of hope. She will be a reflection. She is someone that will show us that for so many years, for 233 years, as I said, the U.S. Supreme Court has lacked the lived experience of a Black woman. And for far too long, that U.S. Supreme Court has had a cement ceiling. And today that ceiling has been just shattered into a million pieces. And I just feel incredibly honored and proud to be able to witness that today.
Take a Edie, political strategy.
So that's where a lot of it is starting, and I've seen already so many versions of that in particularly Black targeted media. So I wanted to quickly start there, but others have pointed out, of course, that not only because obviously. And I recognize always the contradiction of me finding issues or thoughts about this, but she is married to a white man. As I was told, all of the women who were considered for nomination, all of the Black women have white husbands. I don't know. I just thought anyway, that was just, but the emphasis on her being a public defender and in addition to being a Black woman and being the first to bring that was something else that has been discussed in terms of her as it's described here being a trailblazer, but there was something in particular. Look, I haven't seen much that says, there was just a couple of things that were said in this, again, about her being a public defender, which, but I thought this was actually pretty interesting. And I made a note asking if this was all that needed to be said about who she is and why she would have been nominated and why she might win, is because it says here, perhaps the most prominent of her opinions was an opinion ordering President Trump's former White House counsel, Don McGahn, to appear before the House Judiciary Committee to testify in its investigation into allegations of Russian interference in the 2016 elections. So as I'm reading this, at least, she is clearly within the dominant, particularly Democratic Party narrative that Russia interfered and got Trump elected. Mm-hmm. And she's willing to even, as a judge, go after President Trump's people. All right. That's how it starts. Right. And then it says here, in it, she wrote, quote, "Presidents are not kings. This means they do not have the subjects bound by loyalty or blood whose destiny they are entitled to control," end quote. The opinion, which numbered some 119 pages, and this is the part where I think they get slick, because it's already been said that she writes long opinions, right? The opinion, which numbered some 119 pages, took 4 months to write, however, and allowed Trump to essentially run out the clock as president. Ultimately, McGahn did finally testify before the committee in 2021 after the Justice Department, by then under the control of the Biden administration, and the committee reached an agreement on the terms of his testimony. So in other words, she's within the narrative for the Democrats that Russians got, blocked Hillary. She's willing to go after Trump's people, but in such a way that doesn't really attack Trump and put her too far out on a limb that would get her too much seen as a threat that would block her from both being nominated and potentially selected. So in other words, it's a lot to me of that symbolic Democratic Party nonsense of, I'm going to throw you a symbol of, I'm a public defender. I'm going to challenge Trump. I'm going to, once I'm a judge, I'm going to challenge Trump. I'm going to, defend the Russiagate narrative, but I'm going to write a long opinion that's going to hold up the process from anything actually happening as a result. And Trump's going to be able to do what he's going to do, and they're going to move on. So I thought, I was just like, anyway, that's how I read that. All right.
Yeah,
and then,
me too.
So then here, just one more piece from this story, right? she's asked, do you think that the U.S. criminal justice system is systematically racist or infected with systematic racism and bias? All right. Her response was, those are not terms that I use in the law when we look at issues of race, she replied, adding that in examining whether there has been race discrimination, courts, quote, will generally look for attorneys to prove up discriminatory intent, discriminatory impact, in some cases retaliation. There is no Supreme Court doctrine that speaks to systemic racism, and those aren't words that I've ever used in a court of law to make claims based under the Constitution or applicable statutes, end quote. So again, as I humbly read that, don't go looking for me to be some black activist judge talking about systemic this and defending the specific interests of black people, because the Supreme Court doesn't talk that way, and I don't use that kind of language in my work. Now, she could be on some, I haven't read everything, whatever. She could be on some super, what do they say, 4D chess, Jedi mind tricking, and whatever. Anyway.
Well, it's not like they didn't know she wasn't going to print that answer. They know all about them by the time they get up there. By the time we're reading and seeing stuff like this, they've already done their vetting. And their vetting is, they check for all that. There's no Jedi, no abilities there for them, And so, and you could clear. And if we look at the whole, even just that clip before you played, it made me think of how much of a disregard that the black bourgeoisie at that level has for black people. Talking about how what this means for us. And here we are, decades, centuries, suffering the way the has for the working class. I meant to say, it has for black working class, and it's like that means so much, but yet we still could be suffering as even more so than sometime of some decades ago, and that they think that means this individual accomplishment, this individual achievement is supposed to represent something for the rest of the people, and it just doesn't mean anything. And all this old pride and people will be able to, black little girls will be able to look and say I too can be a part of the racist settler colonial imperialist system.
That's important, Netfa, for their self-esteem.
Man, but they do it to us all the time. I mean, it's over and over again, this whole thing. Anyway, it's the same talk.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. So anyway, we have a lot to look forward to with our first black woman Supreme Court justice. She's bringing this what has never been there before, perspective that has never existed before, and that once there will fix everything.
Yeah, I noticed that they didn't pick a prosecutor. They don't pick prosecutors now. They saw how people, Kamala Harris was, denigrated as soon as they raised her up in it. But
yeah, I thought about that too, and I again the symbolic nature of her being defined as a public defender, which is generally associated with the better end of the law, is going to help. And but if part of being a public, if part of that means you cannot acknowledge, by the way, what that also, that's the point I also forgot, because I was going to say, if you can't acknowledge a systemic nature, a racist, systematic racist or systemic
no critical race theory nature,
there. That's what I was that was the point I forgot to make. That she's saying, I'm not critical race theorist. Don't worry, because that is the complete antithesis of Derek Bell. So I would be interested, if anybody finds it, join the Discord and let us know if she has ever written anything or said anything specific about CRT or Derek Bell. That would be, I might look for that too, but that would be fascinating, because
that would have mean it got by the vetters.
No, I'm saying if she did, it was probably to say, man, these guys are wrong.
Oh, yeah. That
Derek Bell is wrong. Yeah. How dare he conclude?
That would
because we don't use that kind of language around here.
Right. That would be interesting to find. I would love to. Yeah, check it out.
Let's all look for it, and whoever finds it, hit us up first, and let's see what's what. Because I haven't seen any discussion beyond what we've discussed here. I haven't really found anything yet about her actual, decisions or anything like that. So I'm sure, that would be anyway. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.